the Contrarian's Guide to 2025. So everyone else is putting out these end-of-the-year reports, and I came to you guys. I'm going to tell you what the current consensus is in a couple of different areas, and then I want your take as the resident Contrarians for 2025. You ready for this?
That's fair.
Ready.
I'm going to start with Bitcoin. Let's ruffle some feathers here for a little bit. Bitcoin crosses 100,000, instantly crossing 100,000. You see Standard Charter call for 200,000. I think Bearstein called for 200,000. You're getting the $1 million per Bitcoin calls out there. So there's obviously some very bullish momentum here in Bitcoin. I'm curious, what does the Contrarian think about Bitcoin going into 2025? Does the Contrarian want to fade this move necessarily? Does it want to sell volatility now that you have IBIT options and you can take advantage of increased volatility? Does it want to look at things like Coinbase, or does the Contrarian think that this move is all on sort of a change in stance at the SEC and regulation, and that's run its course, and that there's a lack of upside catalyst here? What's the Contrarian feel about Bitcoin going into 2025?
I think the Contrarian feels that there's, and I'm long Bitcoin and I'm long ETH, on just outright cash, but I feel like there is a horrible risk reward at these prices. So at these levels right here, I feel like Bitcoin has less downside than the NASDAQ. If you wanted me to give it some context, I feel like Bitcoin has less downside than the S&Ps, but I also feel like it's fully priced. It is subject to it's got horrible pot odds, and I don't think it's going to have a massive sell-off. I was going to say, if you had caught me a couple of months ago, I would have said 2025 we finish around 50,000. But now, given where we've got up to, I'm going to raise my projection and say the end of 2025 we're in somewhere in the $75,000 to $80,000 range in Bitcoin.
All right, so hold on one second. Given that scenario, and I kind of lean with you too a little bit. I mean, I think it's gotten a little bit frothy, and there's just too much talk about it. Yeah. I mean, get the CEO of MSTR talking about it every day.
It's garbage.
News with Trump and everything. Yeah. It just seems like it's just too much too fast. Now, that doesn't mean it couldn't have some swings here. But you just mentioned a 25 or 30% move to the downside. At its implied volatility, it's going to have a 25 to 30% implied move to the upside. Like, you didn't say to me your old number of 50 or 40 or 30,000. So you've actually kind of gotten a little bit more bullish on Bitcoin.
I just said, if you had asked me a couple of months ago, I would have said 50,000. But since it's
all right. So my question is, if it's got $30,000 of downside risk to end the year, do you think it has $30,000 upside risk to end the year?
No. That's why I said it. He asked for the Contrarian viewpoint. I'm not going to give you both sides. I'm not going to say if it doesn't go down, it's going to.
We asked you your view.
I gave you my view.
Being the person that you are.
I gave you my view.
Not cantankerous, angry.
I just gave you my view.
You're not agitated. I got it. You're happy.
75 to 80,000. What's next?
I'm sitting there smiling. You're agitated. Go ahead.
What's next?
All right, fair. Tony?
Yes, sir.
Are you long Bitcoin?
I am. Not a ton. Small, tiny.
My man, Tony. All right. So going into 2025,
I actually have it here at Tasty Trade, and I don't know how to access it. It's under a different username ID. It's with my wife, so I don't even have it, and that's why I probably haven't traded out of it.
Tony's like the guy who paid 10,000 Bitcoin for the pizza.
No, I paid 500. It's not worth $1 billion, but Tom and I paid 500, and we sold it, at 8,000 or whatever it was.
Oh no! What's that?
And we only sold it 8,000 because we couldn't get the computer
pizza right now.
Yeah.
All right. There's an expectation of 2 to 3 cuts. Fed funds cuts.
No, don't worry about it. I do this all day long.
I got marble mouth right now. I'm not asking you to project the Fed path in 2025, but I'm curious how you think, when we went into this year, everyone was expecting them to cut 6 or 7 times. That was nowhere close to reality. They're going to end up cutting maybe 3 times, 50 basis points, 25, and the odds say they're going to cut 25 again on the 18th for 100 basis points of cuts. So market was way off going into 2024. I'm curious if that had an implication into how to trade bonds or how to think about bonds. The market is thinking they're not going to do much next year. How do you think about bonds? What's the contrarian viewpoint about bonds going into 2025?
I don't have a crazy contrarian viewpoint on bonds. I think they're going to be right in the current range. I do not see a big move in the bond market. I think you're going to see them settle in. I think the long bond's going to settle in to right in the low 120s, and it's going to sit there for most of the year. I think bonds are going to be I think they're going to be a dead play for 2025. And so I don't expect much. I'm a little bit long bonds now. I would buy more on a dip. I would sell my long bonds out if we get a rally up over 120, like towards 121. So right now, Vic, I think you're going to be in the range of next year. I mean, given whatever the range is on paper, but I'm thinking 116 to 124, 125 in that range all year long. I think it's a very narrow range for bonds, become one of the least interesting asset classes. They've essentially played out over the last couple of years. I think stocks are way more interesting than bonds going forward.
Oh, no. And when you say way more interesting stocks, you're not necessarily talking to the upside. You're just
I'm saying I don't think they're going to go anywhere.
Yeah, trading point of view.
More vol.
Yeah, more vol. I'll agree with you. I'll agree with you there.
I think it's going to be one of the more boring asset classes, but right now I'm leaning small long.
I think rates are higher in December of next year, 2025, than they are today.
Okay, that's good. Then you think they're going to be a little bit lower.
Yep.
I think you're right. I think in the long end, I would agree with that. I think we're closer to 5% at the end of next year, and I actually think, if I had to guess, who cares? We're just taking a guess here.
Yeah.
I think they're going to cut more than 2 times.
Yeah.
I think we went from expecting 6 or 7 cuts this year, that was too much, to not expecting them to do much next year, and I think we've swung the other direction. I think probably expecting them to cut once a quarter 4 times next year probably makes more sense, which means the long end's got to lift a little bit higher, which then aligns with what you're thinking, Tony. All right.
Full disclosure, I am the world's worst bond trader, though. I must put that out there. Full disclosure.
I will be so bummed if we get no vol in bond market. All right. This one's hot off the presses, Tom. Kramer just called Tesla $500 a share. So I am bringing this straight to you, hot off the presses, and I want to know.
Nothing makes me more bearish.
Stupid ass call. Nothing makes me more bearish. Tesla is the most overpriced stock in the world right now. It is grossly overpriced. I mean, I don't
more than MSTR. You think it's more overpriced?
No. Nothing's more overpriced than that. You know that.
MSTR is. Let me see. Where is MSTR today?
It was up $25 a moment.
Oh my God! It's only up $5 now. It was up 40 this morning.
It was up 45. Yeah, you're right.
Wow. I can't believe I rolled up calls in there.
Rolled up puts.
Let me roll up puts.
Oh my God, Victor! I have to do this all day. I have to be on my toes. I would think a 40-year veteran of the markets would get it right. I mean, not enter the order correctly. That you can't see. I get that part, but at least say it correctly.
MSTR. I cannot believe I've done this. I've done this.
Done this to yourself.
I've done this to myself.
Done this to yourself. You have nobody else to blame.
Anyway, Vic. Tesla. Outside of MSTR, the most overpriced stock, and Tesla might in another day or so be the most overpriced stock.
By market cap.
I have a small position in there now. I'm short a little premium. I'm long some far out of the money put spreads, but I'm really just short a little premium. I think the risk reward in Tesla is it's got $50 of downside and less than a quarter of that of upside. I don't like that play. I don't like anything about Tesla here. It's got multiple points of failure. It's got NASDAQ failure. It's got Elon failure. I mean, the statistical chance of people staying married is what, 50-50? What's the chance of getting divorced? 50-50?
It depends on the country.
We do this with Victor
50-50.
on there? Can't we do this when there's veterans
just ask you a question.
of the marriage world on here? Must we bring the young man in? He's a newlywed. I mean, basically.
What are the chances of
7 years?
What are the chances that if you get married, what are the chances you get divorced?
50% chance to make it to 7 or 8 years.
50% chance.
After that, I believe it becomes.
Fine. Can I ask you the next question?
Yeah.
What are the chances that you stay partners with Trump for more than 4 years?
100%.
I'd say close to 0. I don't think
you
a single person
makes it through 4 years.
Who?
Trump. Is that
No. Elon's
You're saying-
Oh,
relationship.
What are the
Elon's
odds of
relationship.
Elon and Trump.
Nobody's maintained a relationship with Trump for any period of
4
time.
hours. Wow, that's a great question. I've never really.
My point is,
Thought
you
about
got a better chance at 50-50 of being married to somebody when you know it's 50-50. You got a better chance than Elon and Trump have staying together. When this Trump,
They make it to 3 years.
no chance.
I agree.
100%.
When this Elon
100%.
Trump,
Maybe the last year he weans himself up. It's worth too much to him. Look at the freaking stock.
when this love affair falls apart, and it'll fall apart in the markets way before it falls apart, this stock dropped $150. I hate it.
No, think
You
about
think
it.
that's
Think
the
about it this way,
contrarian
Sal.
There's
point of
so many points of failure here that it doesn't even there's no reason to be long Tesla here, risk reward wise, no reason.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you, but do you think that the contrarian point of view is that Elon and Trump's relationship sour, or do you think that's the public point of view, and that the contrarian point of view would to say that his whole little like Avengers crew sticks together for the 40s? Isn't
Avengers
that the
crew. I
contrarian
like
take?
that. I like
There
that.
is no such
I like that. I'm going to roll up my sleeves for that one. Avenger crew.
there is nobody that's ever stuck with him. It's not possible. Okay, it doesn't happen with people like that. It won't happen with Elon, especially. Elon can't stick with anybody. That's why he's got 8 wives, 75 kids, whatever it is. I mean,
Oh
he's
my
not.
God, you could
50
say the same
companies.
thing about me.
No, I can't. No, I can't.
All right, last one for the Contrarian Handbook. You gave me some good stuff here. The Contrarian Handbook 2025, the dollar. Everybody and their mother is putting the dollar in the dirt. That's maybe one of the reasons Bitcoin's at 100,000. Perhaps it's one of the reasons gold's at 26, 2,700. I mean, the CME is even going to release 1 ounce gold futures. So GC is 100 troy ounces, or MGC is 10 troy ounces, and they're now going to go so far as to offer 1 ounce futures. I mean, that's what the level of demand is. Costco can't keep gold bars in stock. They can't restock fast enough for the demand out there. So my question to you is, what's the contrarian take into 2025 about the U.S. dollar? Tom, start with you.
Well, first of all, I'm not sure that the U.S. dollar really has anything to do with gold, but the U.S. dollar is
Priced in dollars. What do you mean?
I'm just going to give you my U.S. dollar take. We can get into gold later.
Forget about the stupid thing he said.
Okay.
No, I don't think the U.S. dollar and gold have the correlation's like zero. So we can't or don't argue with me that the correlation the U.S. dollar and gold, that there's some correlation, inverse, not the correlation is basically zero. They're independent of each other. But that said, I'm extremely bearish on the U.S. dollar, but not for any macro reason. I'm bearish on the U.S. dollar because based on price alone and what's happened globally, there is going to be a resurgence in various global currencies because I think that a lot of people are going to adopt our approach to free markets, to capitalism. They're going to change their market structure, and the dollar, in my opinion, is just grossly overpriced relative to everything else. We've taken advantage of it, and I think that you're going to see some disruption in that marketplace. Starting, is it going to be just the yen? Is it going to be just the euro? I don't know, but I think all over. There's too much risk in the dollar. It's way too high relative. It hasn't had a sell off in years. It's at crazy levels. That's all. Crazy levels
Tony, what do you
versus
think?
Chinese currency versus Indian currency versus Japanese currency versus euro versus everything. So
I think the dollar goes lower. I'm with Tom on this one, but I don't think it goes as low as he thinks it goes. I think we still need a strong dollar for the next.
No, I'm not. I don't think our dollar's crashing. I just think if you ask me which side, the dollar's been crazy
I would answer
strong.
the question the way Tom was supposed to answer the question about Bitcoin. I think you have $1 of movement to the upside and $2 or $3 to the downside if there's a $4 expected movement.
That's the contrarian view on dollar.
That's what I'm just, and I just made up those numbers. I'm just saying, a 3-to-1 kind of pot odd thing, which is pot odds is in my mind.